sun, searching for a longer day. People feeling like the light has just come. We must never stop the way, yeah. Birds chirping and I hear my name.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today my name is CORSET. On today's video, this is the fabric I'm going to be using to share with you guys how I made the two-piece, the skirt and the wrap top. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead now to start this tutorial, and I'm going to be opening up my fabric on the table. Okay, you're going to fold your fabric into two like this. You can see I folded the fabric into two. So after you are done folding it into two like that, you're going to bring this end and you fold it on top of it like this. So I'm going to be cutting the front and the back pieces together. So that's going to be for the back and this other one for the front. So to cut the skirt, I'm going to start on this end here as my starting line. So I'm just going to take out like ½ inch, which is going to be for the band. The band is going to be 1 inch, so the other ½ inch is for the joining allowance. I'll measure to the hip length, which is 10 inches. Then I'll take it all the way to the length of the skirt, which is 29 inches. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead to roll the straight line. Guys, after I'm done doing that, I will come to this starting line. I will take my waist measurement divided by 4, and I will add 1 inch for the dart. Then I will add extra 1½ inches for the sewing allowance. Then I will come to the hip line and I will take the hip measurement divided by 4 and add 1½ inch for the joining allowance. Then I'm going to come to this hem line. You know, it's an open skirt, it's very open, so I'm going to be measuring like 13 inches wide here. Then I will add extra 1½ for the joining allowance. Then I'm going to go ahead to connect the dots. Guys, when I was taking the body measurement, I started taking it from the front piece, okay, not from the end here where the zipper allowance is, only from the front piece. Okay, please take note of that. So guys, after doing this, you are going to go up on this hemline by 1 inch. Then you make use of this hip curve to just curve it and blend it with the line. Okay, just like that. So guys, I realized that I didn't add sewing allowance to the hemline, so I'm just going to be adding extra 1 inch here for the hem. Okay, then I will roll the line and I will also go up by 1 inch and connect it. So guys, after doing that, now I'm going to come to this zipper allowance area. Okay, on this hip line I will measure out 2 inches. Then I'll come to the waistline, I'll measure 1½ then I'll just come from the hip line downwards like 7 inches like this. Then I will measure 1½. Then I will go to the hemline and also measure 1½ okay, so the reason why our hip line is 2 inches is because it's going to give it a little space for our butt to actually fit perfectly, so that your butt area won't be flat. Okay, so that ½ inch now is going to give it a curvy space like that. As you can see, I used the hip curve to connect that. Now I'm going to use the straight ruler to connect it all the way to the end. So guys, this is what you're going to have after doing that. Now the next thing I'm going to be doing is to come to this waistline here. You see the front piece only, I will come down on the front piece by ½ inch. Then I will just connect it to meet the waist. Just make a little curve there, just like this. Okay, so guys, that's basically all for the drafting of the skirt. Now I'm going to go ahead to cut this out. So guys, when curving this part, endeavor not to cut the two. You're only going to curve the front part. Okay, so now that I'm done cutting, I'm going to go ahead to notch the zipper allowance here and also on the hemline. So guys, this is it for the skirts. This is it. We have the front piece and we have the back pieces. I'm going to place this aside now, and then we'll go ahead to cut the top. For the top, I'm going to fold my fabric into two. So just fold your fabric into two like this. We are going to be cutting the back first because it's a wrap top, so we use the back to cut out the front. So I'm just going to be drawing a line here, which is my starting line. Then I'll go ahead to take my shoulder measurement divided by 2. I'll be adding ½ inch for the joining allowance. Okay, so I'm just going to measure what I have here. I'll come down here a little bit and measure the same thing. Then I'm going to go ahead to connect it with a straight ruler. Now after doing that, I'm going to come down here by 1 inch, which is going to be for the shoulder slope. Then I'll measure 3 inches here as the neck width. I'm just going to connect the shoulder slope. Okay, so after you're done doing that, guys, you're going to come here and come down by 7 or 8 inches. I'll be coming down by 7.5 inches. Then I'm going to roll a line out. Okay, so after doing that, now I'm going to go ahead to take the length of the top. I'm going to be making use of 19 inches. I'll mark it, then I'll add extra 1 inch for the sewing allowance. So I'm just going to roll the line. Now I'm going to come to this line here. I will take my bust measurement divided by 4. Then I will divide what I have here into 2. So just get the midpoint of this line. Then you're going to mark it. Then on that mark you have, you're going to come in by ½ inch. Then now you're going to use your French curve to make the armhole curve. So just make sure you connect it to the points you have there and you create the armhole curve. So guys, this is it. This is what you're going to have. Now after doing that, I'm just going to be adding 1.5 inch to that line, which is going to be for the sewing allowance. Then I'll come to the hemline. I'm going to take my waist measurement divided by 4. Then I will add 1.5 inch for the joining allowance. So I'm just going to go ahead to connect these dots together. So guys, after doing this is basically all for the back for now. I'm just going to go ahead to cut it out. So guys, this is the back piece. Now I'm going to be folding my fabric into 2 again, because we are going to go ahead to cut the front piece. So just fold your fabric into 2 like the way you see me doing. Okay, so just fold it and iron it out like this. So now I'm going to bring the back piece. I'll be placing it on my fabric just like this. So you see, I'm going to be flipping it. Did you see what I just did? You flip it because it's a wrap top. So I realized that my fabric I folded is not big enough, so just extend it out so that you have space there for the wrap. Okay, so just make sure you have nothing less than 5 to 6 inches above the stem. So now guys, I'm going to connect the shoulder slope. So now I'm just going to go ahead to trace out the armhole. So just trace out these parts like this. So guys, after tracing out that part, okay, now we are going to be pinning this together so that it wouldn't move while we are cutting. So just use your pin to pin it together like the way you see me doing. So after we are done doing that, guys, I'm going to be cutting the front, the neckline, the wrap itself. So I'm just going to make notch where this shoulder, my neck width is. So just make a notch there so that you will know where your neck starts from. Now I'm going to go ahead to use this hip curve. Just look for something that is a little bit curvy like this to curve it out like that. So just make a V neckline all the way to the end. Did you see what I'm doing? So you're just going to keep doing it like this, guys. So just use your free hand now to blend it. Okay, so just blend it and blend it. You draw it all the way to the end. So guys, this is what you're going to have. So just blend it very well. Use your free hand to do it very well and be satisfied. Guys, my fabric is really long. I mean, this hem part is really long, so I'm going to also be cutting the rope I'll be using to tie it alongside with it. So you're going to understand what I mean by that. So you're just going to cut this out. You see how long I'm talking about, so that's how long it is. So that's going to be for the rope. So I'm not going to be joining any rope to it, so that's just enough. So this is it, guys. This is it for the front and the back pieces of the top. So I'm just going to trim this out. So this is what you're going to have. Now I'm going to go ahead to cut the neckline of the back. So I'm going to flip it like this. Then I'll just you know, remove the front. And I will use my hip cuff, so I'll measure down like 1.5 inch here. Then I'm going to use my cuff ruler, my French cuff, to, you know, make a round neckline there. Then I'll cut it out. So that is the back neckline. So now guys, we are done drafting the front and the back pieces of the top. So I'm going to go ahead to place this aside. So I went ahead to cut out long 5 inches wide rope. So it is really long. That's going to be for the sleeve. Okay, so I'm just going to place them aside. So this is it, guys. They are really pieces, but I'm going to be joining them together. So guys, this is it for the cutting. Now I'm going to bring my lining. It's a very soft lining. I don't know, very soft, because the fabric is soft. You have to use a soft lining. Now I'm going to be using the fabric to trace out on lining. Okay, so this is what I had after I was done doing that. So this is the skirt. My lining is not as long as the actual fabric because I don't want it to get to the end. So my lining is just like about 20 inches long. So that is it for the front, and we also have it for the back. Okay, so this is it for the skirt part. And for the top, I only cut lining for the back piece, because for the front piece we don't really need lining for it. So this is it. So guys, now I'm going to be placing the top aside, then we'll go ahead to start working on the skirt. So to sew this, guys, I'm just going to take this front piece to the sewing machine, and I'm just going to, you know, I'll just sew the lining on it just like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and sew the lining on it like that. And then I will do the same thing to the back piece as well. I'm also going to take it to the sewing machine and I will just sew it. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do right now. So guys, this is what I had after I was done sewing the lining piece to the actual fabric. Okay, so that's the back and this is the front. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be joining the zipper allowance. So to do that, I'm just going to bring my tape. I'll come to the waistline here and I'll measure 1.5 inch, which is the zipper allowance that we gave to it. We'll measure 1.5 inch here. So I'm just going to measure 1.5 inch on all the sides, then I'll connect it. You can see I use my hip cuff to connect from the waist to that point, then you use your straight ruler to connect it to the end. So guys, now I'm going to take this to the sewing machine. So I'll measure down like, you know, 8 inches, which is going to be for the zipper. So I'm going to be sewing from this point to this point with a loose stitch, then to the end I'll sew it to be very tight. So guys, this is what I had after I was done doing that, you can see. And I also went ahead to use the overlock machine to weave it. Okay, now I also went ahead to put the darts. Okay, so that is it for the back. That's what I've done so far. Now I'm going to bring the front piece, and for the front, you know, there is a slit at the front. Okay, so I'm just going to fold my fabric into two like this and iron it out. Then for that slit, I'm going to, you know, be cutting it. Now I'm going to come to the waistline and I will measure my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 plus ½ inch. So that was what I measured there. Then you make a notch on it. Now on that point, I'm going to add extra ½ inch to what I have on the waistline. You connect it. Guys, what I measured on the waistline was 4.5, so I came down and measured 5 inch. Okay, now I'm going to, you know, 5 inch there. Now I'll come here and measure 5.5. Then I'll come to the hemline and measure 6 inches. So what I basically did is I added ½ inch to all what I measured at each point. So that's what I did. So I connected a straight line. Now for the slit, I'm going to be measuring down like 15 inches. My slit is going to start from 15 inches. So you're going to take out that ½ inch that we, you know, normally take out for the band. The band is going to be 1 inch, so ½ inch plus the ½ inch sewing allowance. So I measured down 15 inches, which is going to be where I will sew it to. Now I'm going to cut this open. Guys, make sure you are not cutting the two. Make sure you are cutting only one. Then you're just going to go ahead to cut it open like this. Okay, so guys, after doing that, you're going to take this to the sewing machine now, and you're just going to sew it and end at that point. Okay, end there. So for the for the dart of this other side. So I'm just going to, you know, measure 4.5, just the way I did 4.5 here. Then you're going to roll the line. So I will also sew a dart there and sew the other part down. So guys, this is what I had after I was done sewing. I went ahead to fold these parts. Okay, I went ahead to fold that part, the slit, and I also went ahead to put the darts there. So this is it so far for the front piece. Now I'm going to bring the front and the back piece together. As you can see, I will also bring these two fabrics that I have already folded, you know, iron out for the band. Okay, so I'm just going to take this to the sewing machine. I'll place it on it and sew it on it just like that. Then I will do the same thing into the back piece. Just take this to the sewing machine and sew it on it. So guys, this is what I had after I was done sewing. You can see I have sewn the band to the front piece. I also went ahead to weave it after I was done sewing. So, and the back, I did the same thing. I sewed the band to it. So now for the zipper, I went ahead to open up the space where I put in my zipper. Now I'm going to go ahead to fix the zipper. So this is what I had after I was done fixing the zipper, guys. Okay, so this is what I have. Now I'm going to bring the front piece. I'll place it on the back piece, the right sides facing each other. Okay, just like this. Now I'm going to go ahead to take the waist measurement. I'll take the waist measurement, I'll take the hip measurement, and I'll go ahead to join it together. So guys, I will join it. After joining it, I'm going to go ahead to also hem the down part. So just hem the down part after you are done joining it together. So guys, that is it. This is what I had after I was done joining. Okay, you can see I have joined the sides. I also went ahead to iron it flat. I joined the sides, okay, and I also went ahead to hem it, as I already told you guys. So that is it. So basically the skirt is ready. The skirt part is currently ready. You can see how it is looking. Okay, so it came out so nice, guys. So I'm going to place this aside now. We'll go ahead to start working on the top. So for the top, I'm going to bring it. So these are the front pieces. So the back piece, you know, there's a lining for the back piece as well. I'm just going to place my lining on the back piece like this. Then I'm going to go ahead, you see right sides facing each other. I'll just go ahead and sew the neck to it. So this is what I had after I was done sewing the neck, and I flipped it and ironed it out. So this is it, guys. After I'm done doing that, now I'm going to bring the front pieces of the top. So I'm going to take this to the sewing machine. I'm just going to go ahead to hem this part. So just hem it, and you do the same thing to the other one, hem it. So guys, this is what I had after I was done hemming it, as I earlier demonstrated. So this is it, guys. I've gone ahead to hem it. Now I'm going to bring the back. Okay, I'll place it on the table. Then I'm going to place the front piece on it, the right sides facing each other, just like this. Okay, then you're going to, you know, take the shoulder, to join it. So I'm going to be placing the two fabric itself together. Then I'll use the lining of the back to flip over it. Do you see what I'm doing? So just use it to cover it like this. Okay, now I'm going to pin this together using the pin. So just pin it like this together before you take it to the sewing machine. I'm going to take this to the sewing machine and just sew it. Then I will do the same thing to this other shoulder. So guys, this is what I had after I was done sewing. You can see the back. You won't see where we joined it. So that's the effect of joining your shoulder like that. So this is it, guys. This is what you're currently going to have. So this is how it's currently looking. Now I'm going to go ahead to start working on the sleeve. So I'll bring this long fabric I cut when I was cutting. I told you it is 5 inches wide and a very long piece. I went ahead to join them together, and I also hemmed the down part. I hemmed the mouth. Okay, so that is it. Now I'm going to be dividing it into two for the two sleeves. Okay, so I'm just going to, you know, join it together and cut it at the middle. So just cut it into two. So I have two now. So these two, you're going to fold it together like the way you see me doing. So just fold it together like this. Then you do the same thing to the other one. Then you're going to place it together just the way you see me doing. Now I'm going to bring this hem here and I will just make a curve on it. So just curve it out like that, the way you see me doing it. So you're just going to curve it out like this. Now I'm going to take this to the sewing machine. I'll take one of the piece, I'll take it to the sewing machine. I'm just going to make 2 loose stitches on it, 2 loose line that I'm going to be using to, you know, gather it. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'll do the same thing to the other one. So guys, this is what I had after I was done making the 2 loose lines stitches on it. You can see I left rope which I'm going to be using to gather it. Now I'm just going to go ahead to start pulling these ropes that we give it that gather effect. I already have a very detailed video on how to perfectly gather in this channel. If you haven't seen that video, please go to the description box where you get the link to watch that video. So as you can see, I'm just gathering it, and you know, so this is it. You're just going to keep doing it like this, but when doing this, be very careful not to rip the thread. If not, you have to start the process from scratch. Now I'm just going to measure what I've gathered to be sure it's up to 20 inches, which is the measurement of my armhole. So this is currently 20 inches. I'm going to place it aside, then I'll go ahead to do the other one. So this is what I had after I was done gathering the 2 fabric for the sleeves, and they are currently 20 inches long. So now I'm going to bring the fabric. Okay, so this armhole line that I have here, this armhole line, I'm going to be placing the fabric on it just like this. Then I'm going to go ahead to sew it. I'll just take this to the sewing machine and join it together. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do right now. Then I will do the same thing to the other sleeve. So just place it together and join. So guys, this is what I had after I was done joining the sleeve to the, you know, body. You can see how nice it came out. It's looking so pretty already. So this is it. I also went ahead to weave it using the overlock sewing machine. Now this is what I have. Okay, so this is what I currently have. Now guys, the last thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be joining the sides. So you're just going to place your fabric together like this, and you're going to go ahead and, you know, join it using the 1.5 inch that we added. Then you do the same thing to this other side. So place it together and join it. So guys, this is what I had after I was done joining. Okay, so this is it. Our top is almost ready. Okay, so it's almost ready guys. Now it's just one step remaining. Now the last thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to bring these hem parts here. I'm just going to go ahead to fold it. Okay, so after I'm done folding, that will basically be all for this tutorial. So this is what I had after I was done folding it guys. You can see how it is looking. So this is it. Let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section guys. Thank you so much for watching. This is the skirt and this is the top. So I'm going to be seeing you all in my next video. Bye bye.